Okay, welcome everyone. So we've put together one sponsorship now, shared by Mr. and Mrs. Avram Rezepkowitz in honor of their parents, and by Eddie Chazan and his family. And Eddie is going in for a stent tomorrow, so we'll have him in mind. Yedidya Ben Penina, he should have a refuah shalema b'seich shar chila Yisrael. As we are getting underway over here tonight in this very cold weather, we want to welcome in a very new Talmud, Yaakov Warman, a participant of my shul, in a very, very regular member, my shul of Good of Fairways, and a Talmud of Rabbi Stefanski. So, Yaakov is going to tell us what we're doing wrong over here. He's going
to have to tell Stefanski what to do right.
Anyway.
I'm not telling anybody anything.
I'll take on Stefanski. I know him.
Anyway, I remember Rabbi Stefanski saved me when I was in Tveria. I was by a Skalin residence in Tveria, and I wanted to do the Zoom, and I had my own, hotspot, but my hotspot didn't work in Tveria. But Rabbi Stefanski came with a whole team, and he gave me the key to his room, and he let me use, we were doing it on American time, so he wasn't operational then, and that's how we had to share, courtesy of Rabbi Stefanski from Tveria. So I'm very grateful of that. Okay, so as people are arriving over here, we welcome in Saba, and we welcome in Yaakov Warman, Irving Fishbaum, Shelley Zeitlin, Barry Cement, Jay Siegel, Ben Sion Cohn, Dr. Udell, Menachem Umansky, Baruch Ian, it's good to see you, Eddie Chazan, Rabbi Kranz, Marshall Castle, Dr. Black, Stephen Holtzman, Nachman Chaplin, Moshe Lehman, Avram Rezepkowitz, Eba Arbach, Yitzi Muller, Ilya Shutman, Dr. Guy is just coming on, and here in Shul we have Berish Gesseman and Rich Lenner, Shlomi Yehuda, and Ruvain Shannon. I assume that more will be arriving shortly. Michal Avram should be here any minute. We are holding, and David Helfgott on Kol HaLashon, we are holding by Toner Rabbanan, the bottom line of Dalet Amid Beis. Yes, we said him, Shlomi Yehuda, I said him. Toner Rabbanan, Dinei Mamanis B'Shleisha, the financial matters are with 3 judges. But if a person had smicha, then he could do it afilu be'echad, even afilu yechidei, he could do it even on his lonesome. Amar Rav Nachman kagain anah, like I done dinei mamanis b'yechidei, I could judge financial matters alone. The Gemara says many times that Rav Nachman was dainahu v'yared lo kedidina, and he descends to the depth of the din. And as I said, here comes Michal Avram, as we're 3 lines from the top of Daf Hamid Aleph. V'chein Amar Rav Chia, and likewise Rav Chia says, Kegain Ano, like I done dinei mamanis b'yechidei, I could judge dinei mamanis on my own. Ibayalu. So now the Gemara inquires as follows. Kegain Ano de Gemirna, like I, who have Gemirna from the Lashon of Gemara, I have the traditions from my Rebbeim, Usavirna, and I have clear logic. V'nekitna Rishusa, and I have permission from the Reish Galusa, so I could do it. Avaloy nakat Rishusa, but if you don't have permission from the Reish Galusa, Dinei loy dina, then you cannot judge. Odilma afal gabdoloy nakat Rishusa, even if they didn't take permission, but if they have the Messiah from the Rebbeim and they have the clear logic, Dine. So Tashma, the Marzutra braid Rab Nachman, Rab Marzutra, the son of Rab Nachman, Don Dina B'tah. He judged a judgment and he made an error. So also the commander of Yosef, he came before Rav Yosef. Amalei, so Rav Yosef said, Im kibluch alayu, if the litigants accepted your judgment unconditionally, loisa shalim. V'im loy, but if not, zil shlim. Says the Gemara, but we said that if they would be mumchim, smuchim, then they're never responsible to pay. So shmami naki loy nakat reshusa, even if they don't get permission, dine dina, and therefore the normally they would have to pay because they didn't get permission. But if the litigants accepted them unconditionally, it would be good. So shmami no, we see from over here that you could pass in yechidei even if you're savirna v'kabilna, even if you gamirna, even if you have the tradition from your Rebbeim, and you have the logic, even if you didn't have permission from the Reish Galusa. Amarav, Haiman de Boyle made in Dina. If a person wants to judge a judgment, and he wants to have the protection that v'itah, if he makes a mistake, mi Boyle miftara, he doesn't have to have the responsibility to compensate. Lishko reshusa mebei Reish Galusa. He should get permission from the Reish Galusa. V'cheinam Shmuel, Lishko reshusa mebei Reish Galusa. He should take permission from the Reish Galusa. So now we know that there is the two zones of Eretz Yisrael and Bavel. So pshita mehacha lahacha umehasam lahasam. It's obvious that if you get permission here in Bavel, it's good for here in Bavel. And if you get permission in Eretz Yisrael, it's good for Eretz Yisrael. Umehacha lahasam nami mani. And it also helps from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael. Why? Why is that for sure good? That it helps from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael. The Hacha Shevet, because Bavel is called the staff, the scepter, V'hasam Mechoykek, and Eretz Yisrael is the lawgiver. Keditanya, Lo Yasser Shevet Meyehuda, the scepter the rod shall not depart from Yehuda. Elu Rashi Gol Yoyishib Bavel, these are the heads of the Golas, the Reish Galusas of Bavel, Sheroidin es Yisrael b'shevet, that control Klal Yisrael with the rod, with the staff. U'mechaykik mebein raglav, and the lawgiver from between his feet. Eilu b'nei barim shel Hillel, shemalamdim toimer rabbim. So therefore, the pasuk mentions the shevet first, and therefore from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael, the permission is also good. But mehasam lahacha mai. What's the din if a person has permission in Eretz Yisrael? Can he judge over here in Bavel? So the Gemara says, Tashma, the Rabba Babachana dun dina v'tah. Rabba Babachana did a judgment and he made an error. Also, the commander Rabbi Chia came before Rabbi Chia. Amalei, so Rabbi Chia told them, I kibluch alayu, if they accepted, if the litigants accepted you unconditionally, loisa shalim. V'iloi zil shlim. But wait a second. V'harabba babachana reshusa avanoket. One second. Rabba babachana had reshus from Eretz Yisrael, from the Nasi from Eretz Yisrael. So, and since he had reshus, why isn't that enough? So it must be that reshus from Eretz Yisrael is not enough for Bavel. I'm going to take a moment to welcome in Shimon Deer and Shimon Klein and Mel Zachter. It's really good to have everybody joining us. Itchy Weintraub has joined us. Daniel Rosenberg, as we've been richer and richer every moment that we start. Shelley Zeitlin has joined us. So it's very good to have everybody with us. So you see over here that the reshus from the Nasi in Eretz Yisrael is not good enough from Bavel alone to exonerate. It would have to have accepted it unconditionally. Says the Gemara, "V'chi me'achar deloy mahani." If, since Rabba bar bar Chana was going to Eretz Yisrael, if the Nasi's permission doesn't help in Bavel, Rabba bar bar Chana reshusa denoket lamali. Why did he bother to get permission from the Nasi? Says the Gemara, La yoroi sa'oimden ala gvulin. For the cities that are near the borders of Eretz Yisrael, that's all right. My reshusa, what was the permission that Rabba bar bar Chana received? Says the Gemara, Ki avinochis Rabba bar bar Chana lebavel, when Rabba bar bar Chana was going down to Bavel. When you leave Eretz Yisrael, you're nochis, you go down. When you go up to Eretz Yisrael, you're suluk, you go up. So Ki avinochis Rabba bar bar Chana lebavel, right? Because Eretz Yisrael is gevoya mikol ha'aratzos. We also want to welcome Gedalia, who is joining us. And again, it's good that we're swelling in numbers here in the shul. We want to get more and more people to come down here.
I was able to get a ride today.
Huh?
I was able to get a
It's
ride.
unbelievable, unbelievable. I'm telling you, Hashem sends, we could even invest in a magic carpet for you. With the front of your house the way it is now, you should have a magic carpet. So anyway, so the Gemara tells us, my reshusa, what permission did Rabba bar bar Chana have? Ki avinochis Rabba bar bar Chana lebavel, when Rabba bar bar Chana went down to Bavel, Amalei Rebbe Chia leRebbe. Rebbe Chia said to Rebbe, Ben Ochi, my nephew, Yored lebavel. He's going down to Bavel. Yored, can he paskin Issa v'heter? Yored, yes. Yodin, can he take care of, Dine Mamanis? Yodin. Yatir b'chayris, can he, if there's a blemish, is he allowed to be matir the b'char and say that it's a bona fide mum kavua and it wasn't done b'mezid and that the kohen could use it? Yatir b'chayris. Yeah, he could do that too.
Did you know who it was?
What?
Did Rebbe know who he was talking about?
Yeah,
He did.
of course. Of
He
course.
said my nephew. He didn't specify.
Yeah,
who it was.
yeah, he knew he was talking about. So Ki avinochis Rav lebavel, when Rav went down to Bavel, Amalei Reb Chia leRebbe, Reb Chia said to Rebbe, Ben achoisi yored lebavel. The son of my sister is going down to Bavel. That's, we're going to see that was specifically Rav, who happened to be the son of his brother and the son of his sister. It was a stepbrother and a stepsister. That's how it was possible. So Yaira, could he paskin Issa v'heter? Yaira. Yadin, could he paskin Dinei Mamanis? Yadin. Yatir b'chayris, could he be matir b'chayris? Al yatir. No. Now that's a very big surprise. Rav was a super great man. That's a very big surprise. So the Gemara is going to explain. But first the Gemara wants to know, since both Rabba bar bar Chana and Rav were the sons of his brother,
It's not Rabbi Bar Bar Chana.
huh?
This Rebbe was one bar.
Rabba bar Chana, correct. Rabba bar Chana, to be exact. And in this case, by the way, Chana is a man's name, not a woman's name. So, says the Gemara, Maishno Lamar, why Rabba bar Chana, Dikakari ben Ochi, calls him the son of my brother. Or Maishno Lamar and Rav, Dikakari ben Achaisi. Rav was also the son of his brother Abel. The Chitay Machi Avimaisa, that Rav wasn't the son of his brother. But for Amar Ivai, who's the father of Rav, V'chana, the father of Rabba bar Chana, V'shela umosa v'Rebbe Chia, Kulu b'nei Abba Baracha Karsala Mikvari Avi. They were all the sons of Abba Baracha Karsala from Kvari, so they were all brothers. So Rav was also the son of a brother. Why was he called the son of his sister? Says the Gemara, Rav bar Achva Dahava bar Achse. Rav was the son of a brother, also the son of a sister. Ivo had two different wives, and from one of the wives, from one of the wives, not Ivo, Abba Baracha had a daughter from one of his wives. And it wasn't his daughter, but he married a woman and she had a daughter. So they were stepbrother and stepsisters. Says the Gemara, Rabba Baracha, Rabba Bar Achva was only the son of his brother, but Rabba Bar Chana, Rab Bar Achva Dahava Bar Achse. Rab was the son of his brother and also the son of his sister, while Rabba Bar Chana Bar Achva was the son of a brother, the Lab Bar Achse. Iba Yesema, Gemara says another answer, when he called him the son of his sister, he was declaring the unique wisdom of Rav. Al Shem Chochmasai, the Chsiv Emor LeChochma, say to wisdom, Achoisiat, you are my sister. So when he asked him, Yatir B'chayris, should he be able to be Matir B'chayris, he told him, Al Yatir. Rav can't be Matir B'chayris. Now my time, if it was because he was lacking the wisdom, you know, some people don't have the practical knowledge. He didn't have the practical, maybe he didn't have the practical knowledge. He wasn't out in a farm in order to know the different types of blemishes. You know, there are people, they're very wise, but you still have to have the practical knowledge. Rich, could I have some cold water, maybe? But that's not true either. I spent 18 months by shepherds, to know what's a permanent blemish, what's a passing blemish. Says the Gemara, you know what he wanted? Rav Chia wanted, he knew that Rav would get covered, because Rav was, what we called the big man on campus. He knew Rav, so he wanted to give Rabba Bar Chana something special, something unique, that he should also get covered. Says the Gemara, El Chalik le covered the Rabba Bar Chana. Thank you very much.
Amen.
Welcome in Naftali Jablin, Ilya Shutman. We have 30 Zoomers here tonight. That's nice.
Including me.
Yeah, even though you're here, we have 30 Zoomers.
That's because of me.
Yeah.
Don't give it a berry.
You know who's not here tonight? I'm surprised. Mark Frankel isn't here tonight. Anyway, I know Mark is very busy these days because he's moving. He moved his office, so he's very busy these days. Rabbi said, I still need, a certain refuah, so he could have me in mind, Moshe Meir ben Esther Fadl, to have a full refuah shalema b'sei Shechel Yisrael.
Amen.
Says the Gemara, so that's one answer. The Iba Yisayim, you know why Rav wasn't accepted to be Matir B'chayris? Rav was so sharp. Mishum Hagufe. Because he had like a microscopic knowledge to differentiate between blemishes. The Rav B'kiyei b'mumei tfei. Rav was so expert v'sharei mumei and he permitted blemishes, the lo yodayinche, that people would say was surely a blemish. V'amar ki gav neshara, because he was able to differentiate kuchut asayra. And therefore we're afraid, v'imrei, people will say, ki gav neshara Rav, Rav was matter like this, and they won't see the subtle difference, v'asel l'mishrei mumayver, and they'll come to permit it even though their blemish is only a temporary blemish. In other words, Rav had such a power of differentiation that other people would not have, and they would draw the wrong applications. Says the Gemara, Yora, could he judge a judgment? Says the Gemara, I don't understand. Gomer, if he already knew, if he was so learned, then why do you have to have permission? What's the purpose of the permission? It says that he asked him, could he render decisions? Gomer, if he knows, why does he have to reshus l'amali l'mishkel? Why does he have to ask permission? Now, the Gemara is asking this only on Yora, because you'll say you have to ask permission in order to get that if he makes a mistake, he shouldn't have to pay. But the Mefarshim say he already had that exoneration because he told them he could be Yodin. So he doesn't. So why did he have also ask permission to paskin Itzav Heter? Says the Gemara, Mishamaisa Shahaya, because of an incident that happened. How careful we have to be with psak. The Tanya Pamachas Holach Rebbe L'Makam Echad. One time, Rebbe went to a certain place. V'Rabbanei Adam Shemigablim Isayseim B'Tumah, and he saw people that they were kneading their dough while they were tummy. That's a real no-no, because the dough has to have challah, and they're being metame the challah. So Amar Lahem Ibnei Ma'atem Megablim Isayseim B'Tumah. Why are you kneading your dough with tumah? So they made a big mistake. You see, they were kneading their dough with the water that they got from an agam, from a marsh. And they said, Amrulay Talmud Echad Bolakan, a certain scholar came here, a certain disciple came here, V'hayra lanu mei b'tzayin ein machshirin. That water from the marsh doesn't render susceptible to tumah. Now, if the dough isn't susceptible, so then they could do it b'tumah. But really, the rabbi paskin v'hu mei beim dorishlu. He told them mei beitzim, that the liquid of an egg is not machshel l'kabel tumah. That's not one of the 7 liquids. There's 7 liquids. Yad shoch adam. That's a sign. The 7 liquids. So he said mei beitzim, but he didn't pronounce it clearly, and they thought he meant mei bitzam. V'inu saver mei bitzam kamer. Now, v'to nami bahab. They erred because of the following. It says mei karmiyain or mei fega, the waters of karmiyain and the waters of fega are psulin, are disqualified for the mei chatas. Now, mei chatas is the water mixed with the ash of the paraduma to be mitar atome mace. So you can't take the water from the Karmion stream and from the Fega stream. Now, for the mei chatas, you need to have mayim chaim. Why? Psulim mipnei sheheim mei b'tzar. because their source is marsh water. Marsh water is not live water, is not mayim chayim. So they didn't realize the inu saver. They thought midagabe chatas paslay, since the marsh water is no good for mechatas. Achshure namilat mamachshure. It's not. It doesn't have a din of liquid to be machshir the dough to be mekabel tuma. Of course, v'loyi. The two are not analogous. The two are not the same. Hasam linyan chatas. By the mechatas, bain and mayim chayim, you have to have live water, and maybe tzom marsh water is not live water. Hacha achshure koldo mashur. It has to be water. Water is water. Marsh water is also water. Tana, but oisa shah gazru at that time. You see how careful you have to be with psak. Oisa shah gazru. Talmud al Yaira, a Talmud shouldn't paskin elim ke noitel rishus mirabbi, unless he asks permission from his rabbi. Now, once we're on the topic, when I was in yeshiva of Staten Island, there were boys that were way beyond me in raw knowledge. Way beyond me. I told you there was a bechina that was given at the end of the year. It was voluntary on the entire Masechta. It was 100 questions on Gemara and Rashi from the entire, and you have to know Rashi well. 100 questions, and then there were 5 questions extra credit on Tosfos of the whole Masechta. And there were boys that every year got 105. Every year they got 105. That means they knew all the Taisim and the time is after cold. I never got 105.
Easy did I.
It's amazing to me the shock of everybody hearing that.
On my speaker on my computer with that one, Barry.
Shelley almost fell off his chair when he heard that. But many of those people would not be able to be a Rav. Because in Rabbanis there's also something called the fifth Shulchan Aruch. And the fifth Shulchan Aruch is something that you need besides Gamirna v'Savirna. You need to have a healthy dosage of common sense. And there are people, just like there are people that are completely devoid of a sense of humor, completely devoid. I would sometimes make a joke in the shir, and after the shir, somebody would come over to me and say, "Why did you think it was necessary to be mevatel the shir with that joke?" I'm telling you the truth. There are people that are devoid of a sense of humor.
Yeah, the sense of humor.
Not in this group of Zoomers, there aren't. Oh, no.
Well, they're able to tolerate certain individuals.
I hope you didn't tell your mother and they got 105.
Anyway, so the Gemara tells us, Tanchem Brei the Rebbe Ami. Tanchem, the son of Rebbe Ami. Tanchem Brei the Rebbe Ami. Tanchem, the son of Rebbe Ami, visited the town of Chatar. Ikla Chatar. Dorishlu, he taught them, mutter lilsois chitin bepesach. You're allowed to soak wheat on Pesach. Now this is a heter, even though soaking it to remove the bran sounds pretty risky. Today, we don't allow it. But since right away they baked it, so we weren't worried that it would ferment. We're much more machmer nowadays. Amrulai, so they said to him, Lav Ramoni de Minsur ikahacha. Isn't Ramoni Minsur here? Now Ramoni de Minsur was his Rebbe. Vitanya Talmud al Yara halacha b'makam rabbi. A Talmud should not paskin in the place of his Rebbe. Elim kein hoya rachik mimenu sholosh parsais, unless he's 3 parsais, 12 mil away. Kagain machal in Yisrael, the shear of the camp of the Yisrael. Amalahu. So he said to them, "You're right. Lavadatoy." I didn't realize it wasn't. It slipped by me. I didn't catch it. Now the
Sounded like a berry excuse to me. Oh, stop it.
now. Rav Chia Chazilu Gavra Davikoy beBeis HaKvaros. Rav Chia saw somebody standing in the cemetery. Amalei, so he said to him, Lav ben ish ploini kayanata? Aren't you the son of so and so as a kayan? How are you allowed to be in the Beis HaKvaros? The kayan's not allowed to be in the Beis HaKvaros. Amalei, I am, but Avudahu Gavra, but this and this person's father, Gvayinayim Hava. He had, what they call roving eyes. It's not good to have roving eyes. He had roving eyes. Nasan ein of begrusha. He had, the hats for a grusha, and he married her. V'chilaloi. Now, when he marries her, the child that's born is a chalal, and he loses the rights of kuna, but he also is not restricted from becoming tameh. Now, they say that the reason why this mice is brought here is because even though he was in the place of his Rebbe, that doesn't stop a person from rendering a psak to save a person from sin. Since he thought he was going to be sinning by being a kain in the Beis HaKvaros, that's why he was able to say it. Says the Gemara, Pshita, Lepalga haka amar de mahani. We said that you could give permission for half, because he said yaira yaira, and then yod and yod, so you could give permission for half. T'nai mai. Could you give conditional permission, for 1 or 2 years? Tajma, the Amalei Rabbi Yochanan Rav Shamein. Rabbi Yochanan said to Rav Shamein, Hari ata b'rishuseinu, you have our permission, until you return back to us. Gufa, Amar Shmuel, and again, I want to ask everybody here to be an ambassador to bring more people to the shir. That's what we have to do. And Avram Rezepkowitz came on afterwards. I acknowledge that he's doing a partial sponsorship of the shir together with Eddie Chazan. And the Rezepkowitzes are sponsoring it in memory of their parents. And Eddie, we're going to have in mind now, Eddie Yedidya Bas Penina is having stent surgery tomorrow. He should have a refuah shalema b'sek shachar Yisrael. Gufa, Amar Shmuel, Beis shedonu dineim din, 2 dayanim that paskin, their din is valid. Ela shenikra bezdin chotzev. It's a chutzpah bezdin. Yosef Rav Nachman v'kamal hashmaitza. Rav Nachman was sitting and he said over this halacha, Eisvei Rabba Rav Nachman. So Rabba asked Rav Nachman, Afilu shnayim mezakin oy shnayim mechayven, even if two declare innocent or two declare guilty, ve'echad omer eni yodei, and one of the three judges says, I don't know, I'm stumped. Yoisifu adayanim, you add two dayanim. But if two alone is a good judgment, why do you have to add more dayanim? You have a decision of two. Ve'isa lahavik kishnayim shedanim. Says the Gemara, no. If it was two, so then they accepted the judgment of two. But if they sat down with three, then they accepted a judgment of three. Shani hasim demeikara daita the tlosig. They sat down with the mind of having three. Hacha lava daita the tlosig. Finally, Eisvei, Reb Shimon Gamliel Aimer, Hadin b'shleisha, din, litigation, is with three, or pshara, a compromise, an arbitration, is b'shnayim. There's a very famous balaturim in the beginning of Mishpatim. So he says that Mishpatim is an acronym of Eila HaMishpatim. He says it stands for Adayin Mitzuva Sheyasa Pshara Terem Sheyasa Mishpat. That's what Mishpatim stands for. Hadayin Mitzuva Sheyasa Pshara Terem Yasa Mishpat. That's what it's a good thing to try to make a arbitration, a compromise. People that go to a divorce, if they could go to arbitration, it usually saves both sides $500,000. That's what happens. They usually arrive at the same conclusion, not having destroyed $500,000 in the family. So if they could go to arbitration and not get the lawyers involved, it's the best thing possible. And there are tzaddikim that do these things. Anyway, so Reb Shimon Gamliel Aimer, Hadayin b'shleisha, Adin b'shleisha, litigation is with three, Upshara b'shnayim, and arbitration is two. V'yofa koyach pshara mikoyach adin. The power of arbitration is more than the power of din. Sheshnayim shedanu, if two give a judgment, balei dinin yechaylim la'azabem, they could say they want a retrial. But ushnayim she'asab pshara, but if two make arbitration, ein balei dinin yechaylim la'azabem. So you see, two could ask for a retrial. So the Gemara says, "V'chi teiba pligi rabbanon alei." Maybe the rabbanim argue, and they say that no, a lasting din could be even with two. Maybe rabbanim argue, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. V'amar Rabbi Yevo shnayim shedanu l'divrei akol ein dineim din. That Rabbi Yevo said, according to everybody, two people that do judgment, their din is not a din. So how is this reconciled with the statement of Shmuel? So the Gemara says, you're asking for Rabbi Yevo on Shmuel? Especially Shmuel, because the Gemara says many times, Shmuel Tanu Upalik. Says the Gemara, Gavra Karamas? Shmuel holds one way, that two is a valid din. Rabbi Yevo holds differently. It's a machlokes. Okay, Rabbi say we already did the Mishnah Yomis tonight, and we want to thank you very much for joining us. Again, we want to welcome Yaakov Warman to our group. It's great to have you, and everybody should have a wonderful evening.